Love too that he closes a glass door like that's gonna do much.
Yeah, right.
So that worked out well.
Oh, the thing I love here is that, well, that Bill constantly brings up Tess, not knowing that
Right.
Tess is dead because Joel doesn't want to talk about it.
Right.
But here it gets to Joel. And this is something that you guys actually just improvised. That wasn't in the script, this big fight that happens here. It was much more low-key in the script.
Yeah, once he brings up Tess, that was something we kind of keyed in on.
Jesus. What, you know this guy or something?
Frank.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner.
They're both kind of lying to each other. If you think about the previous scene, right? He mentioned this partner, but almost like I didn't care about him, I let him go, and you realize that's not the truth at all. He
Right.
really cared for this guy, and this guy probably left him.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got
I love how clinical he is about this.
here.
With that look on his face says everything.
Well, that turn too that Earl did with, he realizes Joel is looking at him and he's being vulnerable right now, and he puts the mask back on.
Yeah.
And I remember like seeing that moment from Earl, I was like, yeah, we cast the right guy.
Well, fuck him.
And then that turn right there. Which again is kind of why Bill, what purpose Bill serves in the story, is to show that having those moments of emotion, there's nothing he feels, there's nothing but weakness.
Get out. Get out.
I love it.
That relationship between the two of you,
I
it
love
was so
it.
good. That's what was great about the cast, is constantly having to switch from these really serious, dramatic vulnerabilities to playing tough, right? Because that's what you kind of have to do in this world, is let your humanity come out, but then learn when to shut that off to survive. And also, you're seeing, it's very subtle here, but you're starting to see this change in Joel, where he's given Ellie more and more responsibility. He's trusting her. Instead of just saying, stay out of my way, he's like,
Right.
I need your help.
This is a good point that, you know, in case people weren't aware of the process. I mean, everyone at this stage, we had such great sets, even though it's kind of rudimentary, but they actually built a truck for us, and we used that truck so many times. But I think this was the last scene that we shot with Earl.
Yeah, and rehearsals, I would try to give you guys as much of concept art and videos that we had,
Right.
so you can imagine the space, because you have nothing there to act off of, except each other.
That's right.
You guys have each other.
It's true.
And I love this exchange between Bill and Joel too, because you know it's Joel trying to kind of apologize for an awkward situation and trying to show some sensitivity to him, and Bill just completely glosses over it. And
The thing with Joel that I kind of admire, like, he can't come up with the right words. He can never come up with the right words. I always like, it's like a half sentence. He's like, so, yeah.
and Bill kind of finishes that for him, but it's
Which really helps my writing. This theme comes in here because to show Joel's now alone with Ellie, but the relationship has changed. This is starting to become that theme we heard in the beginning with Sarah. Now we're getting into the first scene we ever shot, and this is your guys' edition right here.
yeah.
Yeah, this was the first audition scene when I came in, when I read for you guys, along with another scene that I don't know if it's in the game or it
It's not in the
probably
game.
changed a little bit.
Like the scene with the Walkman.
Yeah, the scene with the Walkman.
There's a scene. There was the scene kind of like it, but it's pretty different.
Back at Bill's. I mean, all this stuff was just lying there.
What else did you get?
Well, and I especially love this because, especially at this point, we had no idea who Bill really was.
That is actually before my...
How many times did we come back to this scene? Like at least 3 times.
Yeah, at least 3 times. I love what she says. I was like, hey, you know who this is? And the different versions of songs that we ran through with this too is great.
I'm sure your friend will be missing this tonight.
That's the guy on the cover is John Sweeney, one of our concept artists.
That's awesome. Is the centerfold also his penis?
We should have that unlockable. You could see what she's looking at.
Yeah. Get your subscription to Bearskin Magazine today.
I'm just fucking with you.
and the awkwardness of that moment.
But it's also such a great moment of levity between the two of them.
I don't know, that's kind of a way of her complimenting him or trying to bond with him.
Yeah.
And it's something I was very conscious of when like writing this stuff. It was like, this is making me uncomfortable here on the page. I have to leave it as is.
Yeah. That's your litmus test.
Yeah.
I love that. Not even tired. Cut to passed out. This is the first scene, because it was part of that reveal trailer. It's the first scene that I ever saw put together fully, and I was just absolutely blown away how good it looked. It was the first time I'd actually seen, real flesh and bone put on Joel and Ellie.
And the yawn we added after the fact.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Because we were like, oh, she doesn't have a yawn. She should have a yawn when she wakes up. And then you were yawning on the set, and we're all yawning because it's contagious.
I know, just watching that, I just yawned. I tried to be quiet about it.
I love that this moment of silence and kind of peacefulness is broken up by this.
So Joel knows this trick.
What about the guy?
He knows it because he's done this before.
Right. Poor John Bentley. And I love, again, how that music is playing not as a score, but coming from the car. It's just great.
I believe that was Ruben that we hit and
Yeah,
had
that
him
was
fly,
Ruben.
fly off the truck like that. This was also the first really dramatic scene we shot, and it became kind of the touchstone for how the characters should look when they're
I feel sick.
really pushed.
It's so interesting when she's, again, it's this moment of vulnerability when she says, I feel sick, and Joel's,
Glad I didn't, right?
again, being very didactic and pushing her away.
Goddamn kid.
She stands up for herself. This is the first time she stood up for herself.
How about, hey, Ellie, I know it wasn't easy, but it was either him or me.
And I love that line,
Saving my ass.
it's either him or me.
Anything like that
Come
for
back
me,
to
Joel?
that.
And he can't do it. He can't admit that she saved his life.
Lead the way.
So this is, in the story, the first time Joel really is trusting Ellie and seeing her as pretty much an equal to him. That he has to rely on her to survive in this world.
This is
Survive
one of the
this journey.
first cinematics that we saw too, and we just,
Yeah.
it's still one of our favorites. We keep coming back to it and laughing, because I love this exchange between the two of
What
them.
about me?
You stay here.
This is so stupid. We'd have more of a fucking chance if you let me help.
I am. You seem to know your way around a gun. You reckon you can handle that?
Well, I sort of shot a rifle before.
He's like, shit, rats, that's it? Fuck.
BBs.
I love that line. Oh, shit, here's what we gotta work with.
We usually avoid these kind of cameras that rotate around something that are trying to do too much, but it felt like this moment kind of needed it.
Yeah, I love
It's
it.
a weird parent-kid moment.
Yeah.
As soon as you fire,
He's teaching her how to shoot to kill.
Get another round in there quick. Listen to me. If I get into trouble,
There's a really nice,
every
when I watched like Ellie's performance, this balance between she's trying to be a hard ass, but you could see in her eyes she's kind of terrified of the situation.
Yeah.
But even in this, there's almost a little bit of excitement there too. Either whether it's about the reality of her killing isn't real, or if it's just, I have an opportunity to make Joel proud.
him or me.
Opening up, opening up.
You're welcome.
Such an interesting look on your face here, because it's almost like I did good, but then you feel horrified by it. So interesting.
It's like, even though Ellie's used to killing, used to seeing this stuff in this world, it was still important to show this is having an effect on her.
Right.
And you're going to see that kind of carry throughout the game.
Well, it also kind of carries over into this moment as well too, because I realized what I just put her through. I love the way that, we took that away from her. It's like almost gingerly. It's like, give me that.
It's like, you can't really compliment it because...
Right. You did
just what
good.
you
Yeah,
have-
there's no
yeah.
pat on the back.
How about something
But then I turn around and I give her this, and it's like
a little more
you said, there's a sadness to it.
Yeah. It's sad that in this world, these are the things that you have to bond over. Like, here's your gun.
And that's the reward.
Yeah.
But that knot of understanding is great.
Brandon and Najee.
There you go.
Yep.
Brandon, I think, had the hardest audition of anyone.
no kidding.
Because I literally almost took off his head. Not in this scene, not punching him. That fortunately was done by Ruben Langdon, who can punch way better than I can.
Leave him alone.
And Najee, too, when he came in red for Sam, that had that,
It's all right. They're not the bad guys. Lower the...
just this kid that's kind of terrified to live in this world.
Yeah.
Man, you hit hard. Yeah, well, I was trying to kill you.
And these two characters are really showing, they're kind of a mirror of Joel and Ellie's relationship.
If you haven't noticed, they don't keep kids.
And it's another warning for Joel, like this whole arc for Henry and Sam of what's going to happen if you stick with this girl. You're going to go through what these two characters are going to eventually end up.
I do like that Sam is a character that seems genuinely scared, because a lot of the other characters can tend to be a little bit more badassy,
Right.
and he's young and he's scared. And I
Yes.
love that.
To me, he also comes across very sullen. Like
Yeah.
there's like just a little glimmer of hope and joy, but it's almost like anytime there is a moment of that, then Henry kind of takes that away from him.
It also gives Ellie an opportunity to play a mentor of sorts for him.
Not too far from
Yeah.
Be safer if we chat there.
All right, take us there.
Welcome to my office.
One thing that I think made Brandon such a great choice for this, and the right choice for this, is this scene about how much he owned it and the pride that he had in showing off this wonderful camp that they had made for themselves, and kind of like trying to impress Joel, and Joel just come, very nonplussed about the whole thing. He's like, "Oh, good for you. You've done this."
And relax. We're safe.
Well, the interesting thing, the way I read it is like Joel is impressed, but he's not. He's trying not
Not
to
gonna
show.
show
He's
it.
trying to still test this kid. But there's a lot of he sees himself in Henry.
Yeah. Very, very much so. This is, I remember going back and forth about this because,
Oh yeah, because layout changed. Because initially they were going to go through the camp
Right.
at night, and then we had to change the layout, so we had to go in and re-record these lines.
That's our window.
well, there's something on the reverse that it doesn't really matter, but
It'll work.
when we shot this, the entire time that he was laying out this plan, I was just looking at him because I was like, I really care about your plan, kid. I care more about you. It's kind of like poker. You don't play the cards, you play the man.
Again, one of those fleeting moments where kids can be kids.
She doesn't seem bothered by all this.
Such a powerful line. And Joel completely just dismisses it. You guys were actually doing that in the background while we were doing this scene. This was so great. It wasn't like shot separately.
I know, we were just fooling around. You guys like, shut up.
Oh, it just seems like there's a lot of people putting their stock on the Fireflies these days.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason for that.
So you don't know.
I love this standoff, even though it's a sit-off almost between the two of them, where Joel's just pushing him for information just to see where this kid's grounded. That nod.
Yeah, the threat being so subtle, but it's there.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, again, that Brandon did with this that everybody else didn't do. They kind of really got in Joel's face, and he didn't. He didn't posture himself that much. It was just like,
This is us.
I'll take care of mine, you take care of yours.
Abandoned military radio station. Just
And
like
also that he doesn't correct him about your daughter.
they're supposed to meet us there tomorrow.
Joel doesn't correct him. He's not, she's not my
You
daughter.
and your girl, you want to join us? It goes down tonight.
I guess we best rest up then.
And I guess that's the most Joel's going to give him.
Yeah. That's all Henry needs. Joel sleeping again. These were my favorite scenes where I just got to sleep.
No, we're gonna be moving fast, okay?
And
So no
the
matter
idea
what,
of these
just
two
stick together.
pairs that
Like
are coming
glue.
together.
Like glue. Got it. Good.
God, they're such great brothers.
Y'all ready?
Brandon and Najee did such a great job together.